Chinese path to modernization and law. This is a very special topic. We invite 4 colleagues to join us to discuss of this subject. Before we move on the panel discussion, I just want to talk about a little bit about Chinese path to modernization. As we know, from this day forward, the central task of China is to realize the second centenary goal of building China into a great modern country in all respects. Based on the last decades exploration and the practice since opening up in 1978, as well as the new breakthroughs made in theory and practice since the 19th National Congress, we have succeeded in advanced and expanding Chinese modernization. What's the meaning of Chinese modernization? Chinese path to modernization. As I understand, Chinese modernization is a socialist modernization. It contains elements that are common to the modernization processes of all countries. But it's more characterized by features that are unique to the Chinese context. So, in my understanding, Chinese modernization is the modernization of huge population. As you know, China is working to achieve modernization for more than 1.4 billion people, a number larger than the combined population of all developing countries in the world today. So this is a task of difficult and complicated. And Chinese modernization is a modernization of a huge population. It's also the modernization of common prosperity for all. This means, Chinese modernization is not just for a few people. We benefits all the people in China. So it's a modernization of common prosperity for all the people. Chinese modernization is a modernization of materials and cultural, aesthetic advancement. Material abundance and cultural, ethical enrichment are fundamental goals of Chinese modernization. So material modernization is not only modernization of China. Chinese modernization, including materials and cultural ethnic modernization. Finally, I should mention that Chinese modernization is a modernization of harmony between humanity and nature. It's the modernization of peaceful development. Of course, Chinese modernization is modernization based rule of law. As we know, WTO has a motto, peace through law. Chinese modernization means the modernization through rule of law. So this, I just talk about a little bit about my understanding what Chinese modernization is. Now we turn to panel discussion. Our first speaker is Professor Zhao Hong. Professor Zhao Hong is a professor of international law at the Peking University. She is a chair and member of former WTO Appellate Body. So let's welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Huang, for hosting this panel. It's really a personal delight to come to Dominican, this beautiful country. And thank you for the host to so warm welcome all these international lawyers together to exchange views in such difficult time that international law is suffering. We should confess to that. And also thanks for all the audiences who have interest in the China's development in the rule of law. And as Professor Huang indicated already, that we have a unique feature of ourselves in forming the ideas of how international law we practiced and how we build the legal path towards modernity. So perhaps we may have a different view on how we define modernity, but perhaps nobody doubt too much that China did make tremendous progress towards advancing itself into modernity. But what makes that happen? In particular, what is the role of law played in the process of China's path towards modernity? I think that is the purposes of this panel, and we hope we can elaborate from our personal perspectives how we see the characteristics of China's development of rule of law. And I think I don't need to talk about too much about the development of the legal framework of China over the past few decades. Now, actually, China really did make huge progress, as I said, from the scratch to the 300 laws that formed the rather comprehensive legal framework that is compatible with the market economy. In my previous lectures, I always gave a detailed description how that was achieved within, in particular, the past 40 years after China opening up policy has been adopted. But today, to a certain extent, I don't want to make that reputation. I think it's easy for you to find what has been achieved for China acceding to the World Trade Organization and the afterwards achievement, in particular in the development of rule of law. Not legislative, perspective. The Congress of people did make a huge development of the body of laws, but also the judiciary reform. I think on the openness, the due process, the accountability, the efficiency in the trial system, that has been greatly enhanced. So I think we are very proud, and you see the judge from the Supreme Court and the Fujian province were present, and I guess you heard about their story already. I won't repeat. I think there are many things for me to say, but I want to, after I have been, as Professor Huang indicated, I've been working in adjudicating body for the trade dispute at the Appellate Body of World Trade Organization. I'm coming back to China, to PKU Law School, my alma mater, teaching and writing, researching. So as a law professor, we not only look at rule of law as, which is only the rule book. We look things behind. What is the legal thought? What is the legal imagination? What is the legal thinking behind that rule book? I think that perhaps would be most fundamental for the foundation of rule of law in China. So for me, if anything to share with you today, within the very few minutes I have, I think it is the three pillars that is governing the legal thought of the foundation of China's legal path towards modernity. And I think that the so-called three pillars, the triarcha. The first is the traditional philosophical thinking of China that has been handed down through thousands of years to us. The Confucianism, the Taoism, the Buddhism, those the very different perceptions of the world and the way of looking at the world. It is always the totality. And the yin and yang, for example, we can. It is very different from the dichotomy view of perhaps the West. I'm comparing with the legal thinking of the West and the East, and I think at least Professor Huang mentioned a few things, but still I want to mention a few of them, to highlight a few of them. How the traditional thinking of China, people-to-people relation, according to Confucius, is 人, and 人 means to love others. And that is very common. That is very common with Christianity, Christian world, and perhaps also Islamic world. I think in all those religions, the early days of legal thinking, I think that is key. And among the relationship, and then it's li, we translate it into ritual, the ritualness, which is generated from the concept of music, the idea of music, and then permeated and applied in every corner of the society and relationship in China from ancient time, which is based on the ethics, the moralities, even within the relationship of the emperors and its subjects, and within the family, within the society. I think that is a very important concept. The breaking of law is mostly criminal in ancient time of China, but then li is the vital importance, a role in supplementing the role of the law. So this is very important. It's behind the law, the legal concept. There's no time to expand that, but you just understand it is. So there's order. It's always order, respect order. Now, currently, the postmodern society, Europeans, you may discuss, the lawyers already discuss, it's law about order. Well, this order is a kind of order. I have the international law professors coming from Europe. Perhaps the Marty Koskinini are famous, very famous. Just last week, we were present. We invited him to present at our international conference, and he said that the electric motors, the cars, electric cars, quite disorderly display on the street, but said to him, if disorder, but perhaps an order to them. No, I think, perhaps the Europeans living in a post-modern time, and we're still towards the modernity. So we have the order. So law at China is about order and justice. But people told me, justice, no. Perhaps law is not about justice. So we are, what the rule of law has been built in China is still based on the traditional concept. Law is about order, a sort of order, and justice. That is what we believe deeply in our history and in current time of building the rule of law. And another concept is, I think, would like to say, it would be the all under the heaven. All and harmony has been mentioned. I won't explain. It is between the relationship of the human and the nature, the unity. 天人合一, so human and nature is a unity. It's a harmonious relationship. So there's no difficulty for Chinese to accept the idea of sustainable development. The green energy, whatever, will be readily implemented, accepted by China, and our policy hasn't been changed yet. I don't think it will be changed. And the other is all under the heaven. Philosophically, people perhaps have a misconception of the idea of all under the heaven. What does that mean, all under the heaven? It is a concept that the ancestors of China, 3,000 years ago, the first legal imagination of international law by the Chinese, that this, the earth, everyone on this earth is under the heaven. So it's embracing all. Nobody's left. So that overcomes the idea of the French-Folk dichotomy. It is all insiders. There's no outsiders because we are all under this heaven. The whole, the planet village concept. The family, the whole world is a family. That is why you can trust with China's peaceful development. Because we are a family, it is all under this heaven. We are on this planet and we are a whole. When comparing, recently a lecture was given by me at the Zhejiang University at the international conference. I talked about the common natural law. When I'm reading Plotinus, a figure of the representative of the new Platonism, he had a concept, of the one, the ultimate, origin of the universe is the one, and the soul, would be consistent with the one, and all the souls, with the one. That is exactly the same in Taoism. There's one generate two and three. So I made the comparison. I just want to say, those traditional ideas, that is a new realm of me to study, explore the ideas of law and international law. And I did find the commonality of the natural law of China and the West. I just gave you an example, but I can't, make further explanation to you. But trust me, there are many examples and evidence I can present if time provided to me. So that is the project I'm working on. I do believe there's a commonality of those legal thinkings. In philosophical terms and norms, the human being on this planet can be one. We are not, we shall not be divided into friends and foes. Like the trade war, the whatever happened, we can be a family. We don't need to fight. Then we need to change the mind. We have to see the mind. Use the heart to see, not the eyes to see, that we are one. So that is the idea, but that is the only beginning of the thinking about the traditional, the philosophical thinking of the law. And And basically, I think that is the first pillar, the philosophical thinking. So we have that ancient wisdom. We should carry on even today and into the building of our concept of law, domestically and internationally. So still, we will be devoting ourselves exploring those commonalities of East and West of the legal thought. And the second, I think China's the legal thinking, if we say there's a pillar, it's socialist ideas. I know socialist ideas may not be a very good ideas in the West. I don't know about how much that is welcome. But that is a concept and a norm originated, developed in Europe, actually. At least Aristotle said that human beings are social animals. And then there are many, many great thinkers developed the idea of the social perspective in domestic law and international law. I can't give you, Professor Marty Costantini gave a lecture for 2 hours on the concept of sociology, social perspective of international law in the PKU Law School. The week before. So I won't repeat that, a long story. But then I told you that in China, the Confucians are in Yingke, the same idea. The greatest law is for the public. That is what Professor Huang said, that, our law is for the majority. It is for the public. So we have a social networking. I quote our former Director General, Pascal Lamy, who said that because of the social networking in Europe and in some other parts of the world, perhaps including China, that we can buffer better the shocks of the trade. And perhaps the liberal, economy, as the United States, they are lack of the social networking, so they have the difficulty. The working class has more difficulty, facing the challenge. I see the signals that remind me not talking too much. And the third pillar, I should say, is market economy for China's idea. As I said, I won't repeat, because the past 40 years is about building the legal society based on market economy, right? So it is because someone said, oh, you are not market economy, you have a socialist market economy. But then it's the socialist and the market economy combined together. That is, and we carrying on the idea of.
Let me hold this.
Okay.
Let me hold
And
this.
thank you. So we have we have the tradition. We didn't forget where we are from, the Chinese. So we are not cut from our history. That is one. And the second is we have the market economy. Yes, you know how competitive the Chinese, society is, right? You know that. That is why we have the most competent product that can be provided to the world market. So we have the dynamics generated by the spirit of market economy. Still, we carry on the idea of a socialism. We are a socialist country, 75 years ago, that was founded on that idea. And it's also consistent with our idea in the past, in the Confucianism. So we have a connect. So that is why I said the Chinese a society, the idea of law is based on these legal thoughts. That is comprehensive. That is the yin and yang. They can be together. That is why it is able to keep the vitality and dynamic of the society. And it's a way to help the people, in poverty. So we have succeeded in getting rid of extreme poverty. In thousands of years of China, we did achieve that. Why China somehow stable today compared with other countries? Because we do not have those beggars on the street, the losers, whatever. We don't have that anymore. Perhaps it's still children in the countryside or in the mountains, they cannot go to school. But basically, 1.4 billion population, we get rid of those extreme poverty. There are still people living in difficult conditions. So I think that is 3 pillars of the legal thought underpinning the development of modernity. That is the most important thing I would like to highlight. And those ideas, we can find those roots, the traces of them in history of legal thought in the West as well. That is why we need to identify the commonalities of us. And we can understand each other. So we don't need to, make it strange. The Chinese are strange. And the methodology is taken by China in building the society based on rule of law would be, learning by doing, for example. You know that we take a step-by-step approach rather than the shock therapy, for example. And we make progressive approaches. And I think there are more. So we have individualism, the protection. The market economy is about protection of properties of individualism, individual rights, not only political rights, but also economic supportings to those, individuals. So individualism plus society and traditions plus modernity and spiritual development plus materialism and democracy plus the centrality in the leadership. And this is internal legal structure. And external, it is the so-called 5 principles of peaceful coexistence that has been deeply rooted in the history of China. I won't, so philosophically, it is the totality, unity thinking. And theologically, it is for the people. Essentially, the law is for the people, the majority of the people. And it should be result-oriented, right? So I think I'd also like to conclude, perhaps I take too much time. It is the peace through law, peace and development through law. And I guess that is the common objectives we gather together in this room. And I'm happy to receiving questions from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhao, for your wonderful speech. I'm very, very interested in what you are talking about the legal logic, legal thinking, legal philosophy for Chinese modernization. That's a very interesting subject. Thank you. Our next speaker is Professor Dr. James Dean. Dr. James Dean. Dr. James Dean is a law officer, international law of the Department of Justice, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region government. As I know, Dr. James Dean has published on different subjects of international law and international cooperation. He obtained the LLB and postgraduate certificate in laws from Hong Kong U, LLM from Kyushu University, Japan, and a PhD from the University of Queensland, Australia. Now it's your turn.
Thank you, Professor Huang. Thank you for the very interesting sharing from Professor Zhao. And my presentations today will focus on more pragmatic sides on the Hong Kong's role as a super connector and super value adder between the mainland of China and the rest of the world under the principle of one country, two systems, contributing to China's modernizations from a legal perspective. President Xi, at the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Regions, suggests that the long-term prosperity and stability of Hong Kong and Macau Special Administrative Regions are part and parcel of building a great China. He also suggests that the common law systems will be maintained in Hong Kong, and the successful practice of one country, two systems in Hong Kong is an important part of China's historic process. Under the principle of one country, two systems, Hong Kong maintains our common law systems, while the mainland of China practices a civil law system. Hong Kong's distinct bilingual common law legal systems strengthen our position as a premier international financial and commercial hub. As the only common law jurisdiction in China and the only Chinese and English bilingual common law jurisdiction in the world, Hong Kong exercises a high degree of autonomy, enjoys independent judicial power, including the power of final adjudications on our own. In addition to our common law system, another unique strength of Hong Kong is our competence to conduct external affairs. We have been authorized to use the name Hong Kong China to maintain and develop relations and conclude and implement international agreements with foreign states and regions and in the work of international organizations. For example, we have concluded over 260 bilateral agreements with over 70 countries in the world. The major topics which these agreements cover are air services, investment promotion and protections, mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, and avoidance of double taxation, etc. Over 250 multilateral international conventions are applicable to Hong Kong, some of which do not apply to the mainland of China. In addition, Hong Kong SAR participates as part of the Chinese delegations in international organizations and conferences limited to states such as HCCH, UNCITRAL, and UNIDROIT. For international organizations such as the WTO and APEC, we participate on our own under the name of Hong Kong China. At the same time, a number of international organizations have established their presence in Hong Kong, such as the Bank for International Settlements, the International Finance Corporations, XCCH, and the ELCO Regional Arbitration Center. In the very near future, the International Organization for Mediations, IOMED, will be established in Hong Kong. The International Organization for Mediations will be the world's first intergovernmental international organization dedicated to resolving international disputes through mediations. The negotiation for the conventions establishing the IOMED has been concluded last year, and it's expected that the convention will be signed in Hong Kong this year. Given our unique strength and the long tradition of rule of law, Hong Kong has been ranked as one of the most competitive economies and top the world in international trade and business legislations in the World Competitiveness Yearbook 2024. In the 2025 International Arbitration Survey conducted by the Queen Mary University of London, Hong Kong ranked top 2 most preferred arbitration seats in the world and top 1 most preferred arbitration seats in Asia Pacific. All these support Hong Kong to be a super connector and a super value adder between the mainland of China and the rest of the world, serving as a two-way springboard for attracting overseas enterprise and for mainland enterprise to go global. This demonstrates how Hong Kong leverages its unique common law systems and international connectivity to contribute to China's border modernization goals by fostering legal integrations, upholding the rule of law, and supporting economic and social development both regionally and internationally. Furthermore, Hong Kong has the distinct advantage of enjoying strong support of the country and being closely connected to the world. For example, the National 14th Five-Year Plan has supported the development of Hong Kong in X key areas or X centers, including the International Financial Center, International Innovation and Technology Center, East Midwest Center for International Cultural Exchange, International Trade Center, International Shipping Center, International Aviation Hub, Center for International Legal and Dispute Resolution Services in Asia Pacific, as well as Regional International Property Trading Center. Hong Kong positions as an international hub for financial and logistic services is further strengthened under the Outline Development Plan for the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. Under the Outline Development Plan, the Greater Bay Area, with Hong Kong as one of the core cities, serve as a demonstration zone for high-quality development and a pioneering regions for the Chinese path to modernizations. Equipped with a wealth of legal talents who are multilingual with relevant expertise, Hong Kong plays a vital role in advancing the Belt and Road initiatives. Enterprises are encouraged to leverage Hong Kong's robust legal system and dispute resolution services and its strategic positions as a gateway to global markets, partnering with Hong Kong businesses to expand internationally and maximize the opportunities under the Belt and Road initiatives. In short, through the unique role of Hong Kong under the principle of one country, two systems, as mentioned above, Hong Kong has made various contributions to the path of China's modernizations. Hong Kong will continue to leverage on our various attributes as super connector and super value adder to contribute to high quality development of China. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take questions later.
Thank you very much, Dr. James Dean, for your very interesting, very wonderful speech. As we know, with the return of Hong Kong in 1997, Macau in 1999, China is not uniform, nor is not uniform. We have one country, two systems, three law families, and four legal regions. One country, China, two systems, Hong Kong, Macau, capitalism, in mainland China, socialism. Three law families, mainland traditional Chinese and the socialist legal family. Hong Kong common law family. Macau and Taiwan continent civil law family. Four regions. So one country, two system model, I think is a very special character of Chinese modernization. So it's very special. Thank you very much, Dr. James Dean, for your speech. Now, next speaker is Madam Yang Lin. In our room, we have two Yang Lins. One is from Hong Kong, another one is from Beijing. Yang Lin is a practice lawyer from the global partner of Yingke law firm. Yingke law firm in China is the biggest law firm with more than 10,000 lawyers. More than 10,000 lawyers. Maybe it's biggest one in the world in scale. Ms. Yang Lin is the founding partner of Yingke International, responsible for expansion of the global network, international cooperation, and significant international projects. She initiated Yingke Global Legal Service Network, which currently covers for 105 countries. Now it's your turn. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Huang. It's a great honor to speak in this session. Actually, I just make a small correction that at the moment we have 18,000 lawyers in mainland China with 125 offices covering all the major cities in the country. So we just heard insights from Professor Zhao and also Dr. Ding. I would like to talk about the path of China's modernization from the perspective of a build a community with a shared future of mankind. Well, China's modernization, as Professor Huang just mentioned, is not just a transforming of one country. It is about creating a new model that inspires and supports others. By prioritizing inclusivity and sustainability, China is enriching the global narrative on modernization. This new model is a beacon of hope for developing countries, seeking the path that respects their sovereignty and harnesses their potentials. Building a community with a shared future provides China's modernization with peaceful and stable external environment, broad development space, advanced technological support, rich cultural connotations, fair international rules, green development concept, and strong international influence. All these factors effectively promote the realization of China's modernization. In turn, China's modernization also contributes to the building of a community with a shared future by providing valuable experiences and practical supports. China has actively supported the industrialization and economic growth of other developing countries. For example, we have built critical infrastructures such as roads, railways, bridges, airports, ports, you can name it, and also communication networks in many countries. The China-Laos Railway and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor are not just projects. They are pathways to connectivity and economic opportunities for all countries involved. China's modernization is driven by technological innovation. By investing in green technology, smart grids, and digital infrastructure, China not only accelerates its own development, but also supports sustainable development. This approach ensures that technological advancements benefit all nations. For instance, China supported the construction of telecommunication network in Kenya, enhancing internet speed and reducing communication costs. Another example is that China Academy of Sciences has set up overseas education center in Africa and Middle Asia, training thousands of professionals in this region. And talking about poverty reduction, the remarkable achievements of lifting nearly 8 million people out of extreme poverty serves as a powerful testament of China's development strategies, offering invaluable insights and experiences for all the other nations. We are implemented poverty alleviation projects in countries like Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, sharing our expertise in rural development and community-based poverty reduction programs. China's modernization strategy is deeply linked to our vision of global cooperation. Through initiatives like the Belt and Road, we are fostering partnership that promote mutual development and shared prosperity. China advocates for more equitable international order, promoting fairness in global governance. This commitment ensures that developing countries have a voice and a stake in shaping the future of the world. Sustainability is a key aspect of China's modernization. By prioritizing environmental protection and renewable energy, China sets an example for sustainable development. This green development concept not only addresses domestic environmental challenges, but also contributes to global efforts to combat climate change, ensuring that modernization is achieved without compromising the planet. China's commitment To no longer build new coal-fired power projects overseas is a significant step in this direction. China's modernization enhances its international influence, allowing it to play a more active role in global affairs. By promoting mutual respect, equality, and win-win cooperation, China helps build a more inclusive and harmonious international community. This influence is used to advocate for the interests of developing countries and to promote a more balanced and fair global development agenda. In conclusion, we advocate a world where cooperation is a norm and mutual benefit is a goal. Building a community with a shared future for mankind is not just a slogan. It is commitment. It is commitment to the world where every country has opportunity to thrive, where every voice is heard, and where every contribution matters. Together, we can create a future that is brighter, more inclusive, and more sustainable for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yang Lin, for your wonderful speech. Your speech gave us a picture how the legal practice development in China. In my experience, I was I'm a first generation of legal student after Cultural Revolution. At that time, in 1977, in whole China, we just have 189 law students. But now, we have more than 600 law schools in China. In the early time, in the 1980s, there are few practice lawyers. But now in China, we have more than 800,000 practice lawyers in China. The legal practice developed very fast. So thank you very much for your speech. Next speaker is Dr. Li Jiankun. Li Jiankun is the top young talent at China University of Political Science and Law, where he serves as an assistant professor at an international law school. He holds the PhD in private international law and a master's degree in international economic law from Wuhan University. He practiced or worked many places in domestic or in international agents. As I know, he worked in ancestral and Zhao. So now it's your turn.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Professor Huang, and thank you all the audience. Thank you our greatest panelists and our distinguished guest. So related to this topic, the Chinese path to modernization, I have two questions in advance. So first question, is there anyone shopped online? Nobody? Nobody shop online? Now that's related to my topic about the digital economy in China. That is the Chinese modernization. And the second question, is there anyone, except China, okay, except the Chinese, who speak Chinese, who speaks Mandarin. Great, thank you. Why ask these two questions? The first question is about digital economy. That is our Professor Huang, our moderator, has mentioned that the Chinese path to the modernization with our Chinese characteristics. The second question is about our Chinese path to the modernization also contains the other great countries like Dominica, their features, because we are studying your language, your culture. But unfortunately, I didn't see anyone, not anyone, sorry, so many people studying Chinese. Like our panelists, we're all from China, but we also speak Chinese, Spanish, or French. And also, especially like our distinguished Professor Huang, he is almost 70 years old. I'm not saying that he's too old, but I'm saying, I'm saying that even at that age, he continues studying the different culture, different language, can be moderator in this international conference in English. I'm not sure if anyone really think about this question. Because I studied in Wuhan University, and also I studied in Columbia Law School in South Paul. And also, actually, my old boss over there, I was intern at Unidua, the Secretary General. Sorry, I don't really pronounce correctly. Ilazhou. And also, I was also an intern at ANCITRA, so that is our senior legal officer, Berman. And also, we have a lot of conference with Hague Conference. Hague Conference, of course, that is our Secretary General, but sorry for the name. Thank you. So that's the young generation of China. So I really hope everyone can take a really close look to that. Because I would not rather say that from my personal experience, I didn't feel that the other culture or other countries at my age, they are really, really learning the real China, the true China. They never came to China. They never learned Chinese. They never learned Chinese culture, the law. But you can see, maybe some people will argue that, well, maybe complain that, why there is all the Chinese around the world? Because we are the world. Like Professor Zhao said, we are one. We don't label people. We don't tax some countries with 200%. That we are the same. We are all the people. We don't color. We don't do yellow, white, or color. You will never hear things in China like this. We call it humankind. We call it unity. But that is my very general conception from my personal view about the Chinese path to modernization. But back to the theme, like I put forward the question about the digital economy, because I will focus on the one specific thing about the technology, how China to make the modernization with the Chinese characteristics, but also learning what contains the other features from the other countries. Like in the digital economy, because in China we have some people may know that we learned a lot from the civil law system. So in 2019, we have launched the new China Civil Law Code. So that is also the first code in China. And in that code, we have included the digital trade, the digital economy in law. And actually, we have a lot of regulations or laws, but I will not explain it to you one by one, because I think we are open to questions. Like we have civil law, cybersecurity law, e-commerce law, electronic signature law, data security law, personal information protection law, rules and regulations, so many rules and regulations regarding this. And also today, we have a very famous, the very distinguished guest, that is our, the president of the Fujian Province Court from China. And because the Fujian province is a very international province, and also like in the province, you can imagine, like Professor Huang said, we have 1.4 billion people. Actually, I think it's 1.5 or 6 already. But can you imagine that if we have the disputes, if we have the small arguments, is that possible to everyone go to court? Is that possible? No, of course no. So that is in China, in our court, in our legal system, we have the smart court. That is, we can deal all the like small case or medium-sized case online, or even they don't need to go to the court in person. We have the digital remote technology. That is the very functioning in the legal system, especially in the judicial system. And the second thing I can example is about like the remote medical technology. You can imagine that if someone ever been to China, you will know that China is how huge, how big it is. So, and like in Beijing, in Shanghai, we have the top medicine, we have the best medical resources in the world, but it cannot cover all the people around China in the past. But now, we have the digital remote medical service. That means even if you are in a rural area, you can also connect to the network, and the great matter thing, the doctors in Beijing or Shanghai, they can give you a remote clinic service. But of course, it has some dangerous or it's not so accurate. But that can be divided to the other situations. That means we can divide the different troubles, different medicines, cases, and then we will have more complicated layers to how to regulate that. So that is related to everyone. Because I studied and worked in European or in American states, if I got a cold, if I got a fever, I never went to hospital. I believe everyone knows why. So, like in China, we don't need that. We can have the very instant service with the digital technology. That's the second thing. The third thing is about our daily life. Because I just said that the judicial system and the medical thing, daily life. For daily life, is like related to my first question is about the shop online. Like there's a small story. Professor Huang and I, we just arrived yesterday, and the sky high, maybe sky too high to lost our luggage. So yesterday we didn't have the luggage, we didn't have the suite. I was thinking, the first time I was thinking to my mind is to shop on Alibaba. If anyone know Alibaba, So, but unfortunately luckily we have a lot of friends here, so we cooperate with each other to find our suit. And so that is a very simple example that just happened yesterday regarding the digital economy. In China, we if I need to buy some daily stuff or something like 1 hour or 2 hours or 1 day in the other provinces, so far away, but you can reach in 1 day. That is true. You can find the application Jingdong. Maybe I know Christoph or Ignacio, you've been to China a lot of times. You can try the app like Jingdong or Taobao. So quick. But anyway, that is just a very simple examples. But today is a law conference, so I will just relate it based on the simple examples. We can focus on how the law runs, how the law regulates the digital economy in China to make the China with its characteristics of the modernization. First of all, we can see a number that is from the official number. It's in China, we have a goal that by 2029, the scale of digitally delivery services trade is expected to surpass 45% of China's total service trade. So almost half of the service trade will be digitally. You can imagine that. That is save a lot of time, but I understand that some people, they prefer to shop by person. I respect that. But you cannot give, even if that, you still need to provide the technique, the access to people to get to digital, because that is also universal to everyone. That is all our panelists want to emphasize, is that every technology, every service, every law, it should provide to the most or the majority people, even if you don't like it. But that is not a personal thing. That is a very different culture from the China and the Western person. When we think things, we always think in a community. We think in a group. We think in a family. That is maybe from the difference between the different culture. And then that is goal, and under this goal, the China government, we have launched a lot of regulations, but I won't list it one by one. I will just give you a very general conclusion. Things I think we need to leave some time for the open questions. So first of all is that I would say that China is still an increasing lead to gain the economic growth through the international trade and investment. Because actually I was part of the China joining DIPA. Anyone from the New Zealand, Singapore, Chile, the DIPA, the Digital Economic Partnership Agreement, right? So we are also trying to join that one, and we're also negotiating with a lot of countries to revise the bilateral or multilateral treaties that to enhance the digital economy in a worldwide. So the second one is that China still intends to, we will not like to make it like a negative competitor. We would like to be a positive competitor, like to in a harmony way, like to compete with other countries with the technology development and shaping the shaping the new international rules about international trade or international investment. I think that is not only China's goal, but we would like to take part more in that field. So the third one is China is seeking to adhere to international standards, particularly those prescribed international free trade agreements. Like we do not up the tax so much. And like yesterday, when I arrived in Dominican, we went to the embassy hotel, and we found that the charger is the same with the China standards. Or maybe it's not the same China standards, but it's common used. So we don't need the transfer with other tours to make a charge. So I think that's a very good symbol that all around the world, we make people easier. We make life easier. Because life easier, you will be happier. That's my personality. That's my philosophy. So in very short conclusion, that we share the benefits or share the good things from every countries, no matter what is the different culture or different law system. We would love to learn from them, but also we insist our own characteristics because we respect yours difference, and we also urge that everyone can respect each other with the different characteristics. And then we make in a very harmonious way, like Professor Zhao stated in the first sequence. That is not harmonious or one in China is a philosophy, see? It not means everyone is the same. It means everyone can live in the same room, like today. So, in conclusion, thank you very much. We are in the same room. We are in the humankind. We are in the one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Li Jiankun, for your interesting talk. Dr. Li Jiankun's talk shows us two things. One is that what new generation of legal tenants in China are. He showed us that. Second sense, now in Chinese legal cycle, we pay more and more attention to the digital law. Now we are in the AI time. We face a lot of new challenges. AI in Chinese pronunciation is I, means love. AI means love. So this means AI is related with everyone, everything. So in China now we pay more attention to this subject. It's a hot topic. you see the conference, the newspaper or journal, a lot of articles or discussions. So now, thank you very much for panelists give us a wonderful speech. Now we have a little bit of time. Maybe if you have any question, maybe you can ask for them, not me. Okay, please.
Thank you. My question is actually for Dr. Huang. Thank you so very much. It was a very insightful presentation. And you brought up the concept of Taoism, Buddhism, Confucianism. I lived in Asia for 10 years, not in China, but in a country very close to it. So I'm very familiar with it. And the reality is that those concepts helped not just China, but also maybe Japan and South Korea develop the way they have developed. The reality as well is that those concepts cannot really be easily transferable. They cannot be really transferred to countries like in Latin America or the Dominican Republic. We have different history, different thoughts about some things that you may think, we are all one, but the reality is that we are not. And what is fair to you may not be fair to others. So this is just a very long way to ask you a question. I know that you are a WTO expert. And with all that is happening right now in the world, I wanted to get your thoughts as to how you see China. I don't want to call it defending itself, but how do you see China dealing with the issues that you're dealing with in terms of tariffs and other things?
Well, thank you very much. Are you the vice president of Dominican? No?
I am not.
You are not.
I'm Dominican, but I'm not the vice president of the Dominican
great.
Republic.
So,
I wish I were.
So you see the limitations of the Asians. We have difficulty distinguishing you from one another.
Yes.
So the first, whether we are one, it depends on, from which point you stand to look at it. If you are on the, about this, you're on the transcending place, you see, you are after all human beings. You are one of the human beings. You are human, right? That is why we can be one. So we have commonality in any event. Yes, but still we hold the distinctiveness
right, exactly.
Of each of us. So that is, in Chinese, we say, 和而不同. 和 means harmonious, but 不同 means differences. You keep your distinctiveness within this harmonious situation. And the Chinese, our philosophy is this way. You don't need to be just friends and foes. You can be, the human species, one species, and we're on this planet. And I think it is the time that we united and fight against, for example, make sure AI is not used against us. So on the China on tariff, I didn't get your point. I think both China and the U.S., if they are using the measures that is not consistent with their commitment under the World Trade Organization, they are in that equal situation. But the United States take the first step, I guess, and the natural law of anywhere in the world is to defend yourself. The Leviathan, Hobbes in Leviathan tell the nasty nature of human being, and the first to allow is to defend yourself, nature. You must allow people to defend yourself. Anyone offend you, you must allow them to be defending themselves. So that is the first human nature. And that is also common. So I think China is perhaps the same way in, retaliate the United States in taking those countermeasures. I'm not defending China. I said that both of them are not in compliance with the WTO commitment of themselves within that organization, which they should respect. But then, the two, who take that first action and who is the second? There are 1 billion people of Chinese, and there are for the 400 million of the United States, why these two countries cannot, see each other as friends? And if they collaborate, the world would be much more better. So my question is that whether it is the early thinkers like Hobbes that who believe it is the nasty nature of human being, that there's a war of all against all that divided us so much, so deeply. And the Chinese philosophical thinking is that we are one. Platonists see the same way as the Chinese. So there are some thinkings I think we should really ask ourselves, instead of fighting with each other, why do not allow us to have the opportunity to have a good relationship with each other? The Buddhism will tell you, you have that human nature, the bad side and the good side. And the purpose of the life is to raise up yourself, the inner side of you, to get rid of those backward, the negative part, and transcend them into the good part. And then you purify yourself, the spiritual part of yourself. And then the world will be better. I think if everyone improve ourselves a little bit, and as a whole population of this planet, we improve ourselves. We don't see others as a, enemy, but friends. The Chinese culture has the tradition to transform the enemy into friends. I do believe I can be friends with any one of you, in particular with you, and we can have a good talk with each other. And I think if we help each other, the fingers are not equally long, at same length. If you close them, it'll be very powerful. But if you allow them to fight with each other, and someone believes I must be the longest and cut others, who are taller than me, that is also a thinking. That is a mindset. So changing the mindset is the most important thing of us, all of us, I think. We are human beings, so we are not perfect. But the purpose of this life is to try to improve and to be closer to that perfect situation. If everyone believes this way, any difficulty can be resolved. I don't think there's a difficulty in that we cannot resolve. It is not with lack of capacity in having a negotiation. It is that people believe they want to take more advantages than others in this process, make it unfair, that prevented us from sitting together and having negotiations and settling our dispute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
So thank you very much. It's very interesting. In 1998, I actually wrote a law review article about the rule of law in China on intellectual property, because at the time they were trying to get into the WTO, correct? And so from the side of an American U.S. in all these years since, I particularly represent a lot of companies that actually are apparel and industries that sell into China, protect their trademarks. Our perception is things are better than they were 10, 20 years ago, but enforcement is still a huge issue. With AI, it is even more difficult because of the ability to replicate it, to change it, and to copy it. So particularly, what do you think at this point the WTO and China is doing to strengthen this? Because this is a big hindrance in a lot of ways of the mindset of U.S. or Western countries wanting to enter into the Chinese market, particularly in spaces like apparel and other industries where the trademarks are so important. Thank you.
Me again. I'm glad to, okay. I think the China's position on protection of IP is quite obvious, and China has actually, as you said, made improvement in enforcement, in protecting IP, and in having its own IP. So I think No, China is not perfect, I believe, but improving the, the rule of law and the business environment for all investors coming to China is a long-term commitment of the government and the people and the business world welcoming, the opening up policy and for whatever reason. So I believe, personally I believe, China is in the process of going towards modernization. And many of the European countries and America, perhaps in particular, are in the process of going towards the post-modernization. And so there's a kind of nihilism and many, the deconstruction mode in that process. And we are still quite, believing things. Believe there's a hope for this country, and many people see there's a future. And they're not deconstructing the country of the world, they are doing the construction. That is my understanding of the situation, and I hope my exploration of the legal thought is to try to find the commonality of the ancient wisdom of us, because professors' duty is to carry on the wisdom in the history that has been handed down by our ancestors. And then I do see the commonality in many of them, but of course there are distinctiveness as well. So how can we, at least for the future generations, allow them to believe we can be the same, and as far as we improve ourselves, are we, spiritually, I think there'll be less about the situation of war against the war of all against all, but the friendship and the collaboration of all with all. So that is my purpose, is going back to university, teaching, writing, promoting the idea of rule of law. So what is the basis of that rule of law? We're still interdependent with each other. We're in the post globalization society internationally. So whether we can find that mindset that are common, that we all believe, is at least my task and the work I'm working on. And I do find some commonalities and evidence supporting that belief that we are, after all, human beings. And we can, going into the history and future, that we can be friends and we can collaborate more than fighting with each other. So I hope I'll have chance to prove to you of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question. Last one question. You ask a question, okay.
I'm very, very much interested in this topic, the path to China's modernization. So I would like to ask, what will be behind China's path to modernization? I think this question possibly is related. What has been driven China's economic growth so far for decades? Yeah, is it the so-called integration with the international world, the rest of the world? For example, Hong Kong possibly might have already played a very big part. Or is it China's competitive advantage in the global market competition? Or is it because of China's institutional reform, which has been centered on the establishment of rule of law? So possibly we have many answers. But what is the primary source of China's growth? What will be primary driving force for the China's modernization? So that is my question, actually. The question can be addressed to any of the speakers.
How about Dr. James Steve?
Thank you for the question. I think the answer is, as you said, it's a bit of everything. There's no single factor that contributes. Yeah. For example, from what I just mentioned, Hong Kong in particular contribute to the integrations on connectivity, international connectivity between China and the global markets and the world. But of course, you mentioned about the institutional reform, and also I think technology is also very important. We have heard that China's technologies advancement in the past decade, I would say, is remarkable. If you have ever have a chance to visit China, you will see it's very, very different from a decade ago. And actually, you do not need to bring any paper money. You use your mobile phone, you can pay for everything. So that's something that many of my friends from overseas, they find it very interesting in the mainland China. And even if I have paper money, I cannot buy anything in the mainland because people are not using the paper money anymore. They are using electronic payments. So it's also one of the major contributing factors. But as I said, all these factors together, it contribute to China's modernizations. I would not say that maybe other panelists can supplement. I want to say that there's one single factor that's overwhelming or prevailing over the other factors. Yeah.
I would say the primary goal for China's modernization is to focus on technological development, especially those related to sustainable development. For example, technology related to energy transformation. China actually is in a leading position. Before my tour to the US and the Dominican Republic, we organized a very small meeting with UNCTAD, United Nations for Trade and Development. We invited several leading companies in new energy, for example, the lithium battery producer and wind and solar energy producer, including storage. We discussed that maybe we can identify a country with some model projects, and we can build up these projects with integrated new energy, not only in a single energy. I think that's one of the key areas for development in terms of modernization of China. Thank you.
Okay. Now I have to say we have to end our panel discussion. Thank you very much for four speakers for your wonderful speech, and thank you all attenders. Thank you. Yeah.